Welcome back to Nick's Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at a 2006 Volkswagen Passat. This is a 2-litre turbo petrol engine on this nice hot summer's day. So yeah, let's jump in and take a look. So we're going to start off by taking a look at the front end of the car as per usual. So you can see the headlights here for a 2006 car. Pretty good, not cloudy, not hazy, anything like that. You've got some nice projectors over here. Everything else are just, halogen globes, no LEDs, anything like that. But it's pretty much to be expected for this year of car. So you can see we've got front parking sensors, which is really cool. I'll talk a bit more about that later when I'm inside the car. And moving towards the center a bit, you've got a nice big VW logo. Pretty period piece grille for Volkswagen at the time. Looks good, holds up quite well in terms of design these days. But yeah, that's pretty much all for the front end of the car. Now at the back of the car, let's talk about some of the styling here. So we've got these taillights here, these round kind of taillights. And on the outside here, you've got some LEDs, I think, when the headlights are on. And then when you actually apply the brakes, you've got some halogens inside here. Yeah, they kind of look cool. They're like that kind of see-through dual-looking headlights, which is cool. Also here, the trunk popper is the VW logo, which is really cool. We'll talk a bit more about the trunk space a bit later on in the video. You've got rear parking sensors here as well. You've got some chrome accents here in the bumper, which follow through to some 17-inch alloys, which are cool. You've also got some more chrome accents on the doors here, which I think is pretty fitting for the period around 2006. I feel like a lot of cars had some chrome accents, but it looks good. So we've got the key to the car here. Pretty nice looking key. You've got lock, trunk release, and unlock here. And the actual unlock feature has a cool little trick to it, which I'll show you later. So this is the back of the key. You've got the VW logo here. Bit of chrome accents at the bottom again. And then you've got your actual physical key hidden here, which you can use obviously if the key dies and you need to unlock the car. So I mentioned before that there was a cool little feature for the unlock button on this key. So right now the car is locked, and if you press it once, it'll unlock the driver's door. Pretty simple, but then you'll also notice that all other doors in the car are still locked. To get those unlocked, you've got to press it twice, and then they'll unlock everything else. I think this is a safety feature that would usually prevent people from, jumping in the car behind you once you get into the driver's door, or for kids, it would be a pretty good feature to not let them open the door unannounced. You'd have to make sure that you unlock all the doors. So now we're in the interior of the Passat now. Talk about the key again, just one more time. So it actually acts as the kind of start-stop button, which is pretty cool. So a little slot here for it, put it in there, and then press it again to start the car. Almost kind of Aston Martin vibes. So you've also got some controls here for dimming the gauge cluster, the headlight level, and then for the actual lights itself, you've got off, auto, your regular beams, your high beams, and your fog lights. And then also you've got your electric parking brake, which is pretty cool for 2006. Not sure how many cars had one of these around that time, but nice to see. Just quickly we'll touch on the steering wheel and the instrument cluster. So steering wheel is fairly basic looking, but you've got some controls here. You've got volume up and down. You've got a favorite button here. You've got a handset here to answer calls. And then you've got a button here to control the little kind of info panel in the gauge cluster here. OK button, and then up and down to cycle through the little gauge cluster infotainment thingy. So if you want to look through on the gauge cluster, you've got a little info panel here in the center, which is cool. Your regular analog gauges, you got your fuel gauge, your engine temperature. So there was a button on the steering wheel that I showed you before that you can control in the center. So you've got some various options in here. You can adjust different mirror options, door options, and then you can go back here. You've got lights and vision. You can kind of choose how long you want the lights to stay on when you're coming back home. You can increase it, decrease it by 10-second intervals. So that's pretty cool. You can do those sorts of things. Nice little sort of gauge infotainment here for a 2006 car. Nice to see. On the driver's door, you've got your controls as per usual. You've got lock, unlock, you've got all the window controls, the mirror controls, you've got the release for the fuel door and the trunk release, and also down here for the hood. I also want to mention that all 4 windows are auto up and down, which is really good. Now to the center of the car. We'll start up here with the cool looking cup holders that are flush when they're closed. Pop them open like that, and then obviously close them like that as well. You got your hazard switch, and then you've also got some really nice looking brushed aluminum, which is cool looking as well. And then a bit further down here, you've got your infotainment, which is quite dated now, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And then underneath that, you've got your climate controls, and you've got dual zone climate control, which is great. So fan speed here, and then you've got heated seats as well, which is another great feature. And I just want to point out that this is probably one of the highest spec models. I'm not sure exactly if it's the higher trim or the second from the highest, but it's pretty well spec'd out, which is good. And then down here, you've got your transmission lever here. You've got your traction control off button. You've got auto hold. You've got a button here to set your tire pressure when it's low. And then also a button here to turn off your parking sensors. Coming towards the middle, you've got a bit more of storage. You've got some cool looking cup holders that retract when you press this little button, just like that. You can hold some decent sized bottles. And then you've got your center glove box here. Fairly deep, no ports or anything like that for 2006, which is fairly standard. Pretty good. This is the very crude infotainment for the Passat here. So you can see kind of like a monochrome display. You've got some buttons down here for radio, CD, and a telephone, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be working on this particular car. And you've also got an auxiliary here, and then you do have a navigation system that's built into this infotainment. However, it does need one of those CDs that you put in and load in the maps, and this particular car doesn't have one, so navigation doesn't work. But it's nice to see this. It would have been nice at the time. Again, probably indicating that it is a higher spec. Up here you've got some more controls. You've got your map lights here, buttons for your map lights. They're staying on now because the door's open. And then you've got a button here to turn on some lights in the door mirrors, which I will show you later. They're actually really cool. They light up when you unlock the car at night to help you see where to get in, I guess. And then you've got a sunglass holder here, or whatever you want to store in there. And also auto dimming rear view mirror. You've also got electric powered seats for the driver and passenger. The driver actually has memory seats, which is cool, and the passenger just has the regular electric controls here. Just a quick look here at these lights on the door mirrors of the Passat. I guess these are called puddle lights, I'm not too sure, but obviously they help you see at night around the door when you're getting in, which is really helpful. Now we're in the back seat of the Passat, and as you can see, awesome amount of room back here. Got plenty of knee room, toe room, head room. It's a decent sized sedan. You've also got some climate vents back here to add for your comfort. You've got some map pockets in the back of both seats, so that's when you know you've got the higher trim level, I guess. And then you've also got a 12-volt socket down here to charge various devices. Also, you can put the seats down. I think it's a 60-40 split. Put the seats down like that, and then, yeah, put any long items you may have through into the back seats, which is awesome. This is the boot, and great amount of room back here. You've got 565 litres of capacity. You've also got some really handy pockets on the right side of the boot and also on the left side. You've also got a pull tab, which you can use to fold down the seats from back here. And if you lift the floor up, it'll reveal a full-size spare, which is another great thing to have. And you know, there's just a lot of room back here. You've got a decent-sized sedan. It shows in the second row of the car, and it also shows in the boot space. So just going to talk about the engine real quick. I'm going to show you under the hood. So nice little hydraulics there for the hood. You don't need to prop it up with anything. And this is the powerhouse here. So you've got a 2-litre turbo petrol, and it makes near as no difference, 200 horsepower, which is awesome. And the thing pulls hard. It goes really well. And in terms of other engines that you could get for this car, there was, I think, a 1.9 litre diesel, a 2-litre diesel, and then higher up in the range you could get V6, a 3.2 litre V6, and I'm sure those things would pull quite well as well, and quite rare. I don't think I've ever seen a V6 Passat on the road, but then again, I'm not really sure how to differentiate those from just the regular Passats, if they've got badges on them or not. But yeah, nice engine and goes really well. Now we are driving the Passat, and I just want to say that whenever I jump into an European car, I always get the indicator stalks mixed up because it's on the left. But yeah, so driving this, as I said before, 200 horsepower, and it goes quite well. You know, you put your foot down and it pulls hard. Feels nice. There's no real turbo lag. It's very smooth. And again, I pressed the wrong stalk there to indicate. It feels good. I like driving this car. Throttle's very responsive. You also do have a kind of sport feature with the transmission here. You can shift manually if you want from the gear lever. No paddles or anything like that. But it's nice to drive. You got your cruise control stalk here, and very nice. So that wraps up the video for this 2006 VW Passat. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you learned something informative and you liked all the little cool features of this old car. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one.